I'm doing well. I'm in Encinitas. It's been very cold and rain and wind at about 100 kilometers an hour yesterday. This is a little bit astonishing to me when you said it was 1,600 students now in Germany, and I think it probably grows even exponentially, even more, and the world is in such need of the healing that SE can provide that to me it's a relief that it's building in this way. And I think there's also a lot of high standards, that the students are held to high standards, and that they take what they've learned out into the real world, in places like Ukraine, or recently in Turkey and Syrian earthquake, the natural disasters and unnatural disasters, to somehow help reduce the pain and the suffering in the world, if even only each person by person, that we have this possibility for deeper healing. And in Tibet, this epoch of time is called, I think, Kalahari, which is where things really get really worse, and they start to fall apart and disintegrate. But then if we're conscious and we move through it, it then has the potentiality of coming together. So again, I think really this is a time of tremendous need and tremendous sharing of what gifts we have, what we've learned, to people that are in need. Yeah. I congratulate you on that. It's something that you really held together, and that you've been carrying now for the last number of years, Hannah, to really make things more organized, more professional. So, because when you have growth, you need to support growth. And so I appreciate that you've been supporting growth, that you and the people who work with you, in SE Deutschland. When I was asked to do it by Urs, I said, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to do something like this. I don't know anything about it. Figure it out. So I started, and people found that it was transformative for them. So I'm glad also to be able to give it, to present it to the students in Germany, and just curious to see what their reaction will be. And again, it's a good facility that really supports healing. I found that places that have a religious but also a spiritual commitment, like to do good in the world and to help others, I think are really a good format for us. Yeah. Actually, there's a place near San Francisco called the Mercy Center, the Sisters of Mercy. And it's also one of these places where it's a religious order, but it's more a spiritual order. And so I'm teaching, I guess, in the beginning of June, a class again on syndromes, particularly on people who have this post-COVID or long COVID syndromes. And I'll be doing that in Switzerland also, I think, pretty sure. Because it's so important, because so many people are suffering these long-term effects. And, and medically, there's been really virtually no treatment that's effective. And so hopefully SE can fill that gap, that hole. More detail. Yeah, exactly. So again, hopefully people have more tools to work, because it's a demanding thing for when people are, because the whole organism, the nervous system is shut down, and how to bring it out of that shutdown and back into aliveness, a vitality. So, yeah. So again, yeah. That's an interesting question. When I first started teaching, that was in Munich, in Schwabing. And when I first arrived, I had an anxiety, that it wasn't the anxiety just, to be performing and to teaching, because I was starting to teach more and more. So I didn't really have that anxiety. But I realized that on my father's side, every single relative was murdered, in the Holocaust. And so I was in a way carrying that fear. But then in the class, because nobody spoke of the war then, or certainly not of the Holocaust, it was like totally verboten. But then it came up because when we were doing SE practice, the sensations would lead to certain feelings, then lead to the shame and the pain of those who had parents that were, that were in the SS and so forth. But then there were other students in the same class where they had parents that were in the resistance, and many of them were tortured or murdered. So they had that pain. So in the sharing of that, in that shared pain, I could also feel and let go some of my pain from my generational trauma. And since that time, I've always found myself very comfortable in Germany, very comfortable with the German students and the German people. Yeah. Exactly, to do this deep healing, that, your parents were bad to you, so you have trauma, but it's much bigger story than that, much bigger story than that. For me, it was a very deep healing. Yes, I think it's even closer to 50,000. I mean, because we have about, at least, I think now 55 or 60 international trainers that are carrying that work forward. So thankfully I can, have more time to do what I like, to do my writing. I'm hoping this year to have completed and have published what is an autobiography, titled An Autobiography of Trauma. Friends of mine and colleagues insisted that I write something. I said, no, I can't write it. Okay. So I started writing it, and I realized it was really an excavation for me, for my traumas. And so I thought I only do it for myself. But then I had a dream, and the dream, I was standing facing this meadow, this large grass meadow. And I had in each hand many pages of typewritten paper pages. And I was just standing there kind of not knowing what to do. And then from behind me, this wind came right through and took all of the pages and put them in the air and then spread them out over the meadow. And then I realized, okay, I will put this autobiography wherever it lands, and those who can learn from it and support their own healing, I give it to you. That is my gift to myself and my gift to you.
Wow.
Great. Well, send my caring to all of the people who were there.
Yeah.
To be here. I'm glad to be here and to share in some way with your bringing the work into the world. Again, it's not just what people are doing in their country, but how it's reaching so many other countries where there's such a need, like from natural disasters, like the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, and of course, from the horrible things that are going on in Ukraine. Again, there are many of the SE students, some that are living there, but then others that are just there helping us, especially with the children who are so profoundly traumatized, but everybody, and I hope that more and more of you people from the German Association also will be helping, take some of that pain away. Yeah, it's touching me too. And I'm glad for that. I'm glad for that. I hope together we make a little bit better world. Okay. Okay, Alice.
Peter.
Yeah. Okay, genau. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.